Three, two, one. Welcome back to The Broke Investor. This is episode 6. 6. That's awesome. So, let's get right into it. As you can tell by the thumbnail, today we're talking about news and investing. So, in the earlier episodes, I talk about how we're going to be talking about macroeconomic factors, or AKA current events that affect the monetary system or the economy. Because unfortunately, that and politics affects the way market flows. So, before we get started, let's just remember that if you're here, it's probably because you're broke and you want to be an investor. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video so you can get new content and help the algorithm to get this out to anyone that needs to see it. And anything you see and hear here is not financial advice, but purely for educational and entertainment purposes only. Okay, so episode 6. I can't believe I've actually done 6 of these fucking episodes. I can't believe it. Sorry, YouTube, if I said a wrong word. So let's get into it. We are basically here to talk about what news and current events and global issues and macroeconomic factors affect investing. And this is going to be a huge topic. It's so huge that we're not going to wrap it up in the 10 minutes I sit here blabbering. It's going to be like an ongoing thing because we're actually going to talk about existing events and how they've actually affected the current market situation, how they can affect your investments in silver and Bitcoin and other sectors as well, as we start to mesh and meld all our knowledge into these little videos. So I guess, where can we start off here? I guess I want to start off with silver because for me, silver is, again, I love silver. And to be honest with you, everyone always kind of, in the general outlook of the world and the average person, they think, oh, silver, well, it's just silver, whatever, we don't need it. But we live in this environment, and people don't know this. A lot of people don't know this, that the silver price has actually been manipulated for years. It's been kept low for a reason because it is such an important and crucial metal. Not only is it actually money, but it's an industrial metal. Anything that is in the green economy, so solar panels, EVs, batteries, they all need silver. And as the narrative kind of climbs and ramps up for this is how we have to go and not so much the oil route, which is absolute garbage, silver is going to play an important part. It plays a role in aviation, and literally every piece of technology needs silver, from laptops to radars to ships and aircrafts and anything that runs silicone chips. There's silver in all of that stuff. Gold as well, but we're talking about silver today. And so the silver price is actually manipulated, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind that. Currently, right now in the world, we see the East mainly, major centers like Delhi, Shanghai, and Dubai really ramping up their consumption and trade in silver. Whereas you can look into it yourself, do your own research with everything you see here, but they are actually pricing silver higher in the East than they are in the West. So what we're seeing is a slow arbitrage, a slow leaking of silver moving eastward, where it will never come back, because they're basically positioning themselves with this whole BRICS thing to really take charge of the world, basically. And it's like frightening and exciting, and like I don't know what to feel, because it's we've never lived through a time like this. It's always been the West, the G7 and NATO that kind of control all these things, but now all that's moving eastward. So with silver being needed in all this stuff, and here in the West, we're like, oh, silver, green energy, green energy. We don't have the silver to accommodate that, and people don't know that. They just think that, oh, silver is as plentiful as aluminum. Garbage. It's so rare, and now we're seeing like Mexico, a big silver producer, applying to a member of NAFTA, a North American Free Trade Agreement, applying to the BRICS. So like, it's crazy. So this is like a pretty current story right now happening, and I think if you're a silver bug and you're into silver, you might know some of this, but if you're just kind of looking for silver to be your first investment vehicle, you need to start buying, like buy, because it's gonna take off. Like I don't know if you've noticed in the last couple weeks or months, but the price of silver has kind of been hitting a resistance range at about, I don't know, what is it, like 32 bucks US, something like that. And it's poised for a breakout. And I think the all time high for silver was reached in the 80s. Don't quote me on this, but it was reached a while back ago at about $50 US, and they're saying that that is just the beginning. Who knows? Nothing is financial advice. So it's important to kind of track silver miners, silver producing nations, and the use of silver in the economy to really get an idea of where your money or where your investment is going to take you. And I could literally go on forever on silver and the geopolitical situation around that, but let's shift it over to Bitcoin for now because those are the two assets that we're really going to kind of talk about to begin with. And with Bitcoin, you know that the Bitcoin spot ETF was approved. If you don't know what an ETF is, go back and check out our versus ETF versus self custody episode where I talk about what an exchange traded fund is. So what happened basically is now Bitcoin has been really acknowledged as a an asset class, you know, a currency, a store of value, a commodity, whatever you want to call it. But now we got the big players like BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard, um, launching these ETFs, and the price has kind of gone up again, and we've reached an all time high after the ETF launch, which has been I don't know what, like 73,000. I don't quote me on it. I don't know, but it's between 71 and 73,000, and it looks like the price is getting ready to explode again. Like just if you watch the Bitcoin chart, and that's because you now have these institutional players. It's not just like, you know, first of all, it's not just traders that are just like individual traders buying it and selling it. It's now this algorithmic trading. So there's like these automatic programs, bots doing the trading based on market activity and price action. And not only that, now you have the institutions, these multi trillion companies trading it as well with their algorithms and their trading methods. So it's becoming very sophisticated, and big money has come in. So now that this has been kind of the new thing, we can look back to what happened there was a gold ETF launched in '94, I think, and what happened to the price of gold after that was launched. And basically, there was just a huge rise in the price. So that's why it's important to pay attention to these things, and they seem very abstract and very crazy. But in order to position yourself in the best place possible, you have to kind of follow these narratives, follow these stories, follow these headlines to see what the sentiment is overall in the market within these two spaces. And, you know, we can go on forever about, you know, other types of ETFs and other types of global blah blah blah, but you know, and I think an unrelated story that we should be talking about is the semiconductor chips that are being fabricated in Taiwan and in the East, and the United States is playing catch up to try to build their own, because now with this China wanting to bring Taiwan back under their control, and then their one China policy identity, we could potentially be looking at another geopolitical, another global incident that could shift markets. And if AI is being built on these chips that are coming out of Taiwan in the East, you know, mainly out of Taiwan, what's that going to do to the AI market? What's that going to do to the you know, this entire infrastructure that's being built? Now, this is so overwhelming that I get worked up about it, but you like, you know, you're not going to be in a bad place if you don't follow the news, and if you just stick to, you know, if you stick to buying your ounce, 2 ounce, 3 ounces, 4 ounces, 10 ounces of silver, or whatever, your Bitcoin every week, you know, you're going to see the benefits of dollar cost averaging, which means you're going to beat the price. You're going to get a better price overall, no matter if the price goes up and down. you really don't have to be in tune with the news and the market to kind of take advantage of this. But I bring it to your attention because I think it can give you a little bit of insight and maybe even a little bit of an ability to position yourself to maybe buy at an opportune time or sell at an opportune time. And I don't know when that is. You know, there's always these sayings of buy the rumor, sell the news, or buy the news, sell the rumor, which we'll get into later. But um, it's important to know how the world is reacting to these events and how these events affect the price of these assets. That's basically all I'm trying to say. And I say it super long winded and with a ton of words and emotion, but I frankly love it. I'm super interested in it. And so for me, it's a very cool thing to watch where you see, you know, a breaking story come out and then the price of a given asset, you know, shoots up or goes down. You know, example, a couple of years back, FTX, you know, that's the big one I'm going to be coming back to. You know, when that kind of came out that it was not what it was, you know, propped up to be, you know, the price plummeted of the FTX token. And then, you know, the banks that had, you know, money tied up in them, they ended up going under, and it just affected the entire cryptocurrency space. It affected the stock market. It was a really like an overlapping event. So as we kind of move forward here, we're going to kind of look at those things and really try to bring those into our sphere of knowledge, our sphere of attention when we talk about these asset classes. Again, you don't need them. You don't need to be on top of the news as long as you're consistent and you're buying and you're holding. And then maybe your plan is to sell in 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever years. You'll be fine. You really will. And I think sometimes I think that for some people that might be the better approach. You know, but ignorance is bliss, but at the same time, you know, if there's an opportunity because of a given situation in the world, it's important for you to maybe have a grasp on that. So I think we'll leave it at that there, covering the silver, the Bitcoin, and the semiconductors. I think that's plenty to go on. We're not going to touch on the other crazy events happening in this world right now. So with that said, I want to thank you so much for joining us again at The Broke Investor. I am Crypto Antonio, I love silver, and we'll catch you in episode 7. Wow, episode 7 is coming soon. Okay, and remind me, I have to get a new camera because this is just, I mean, it works for now, but it's not ideal. All right, take care.